As she sifted through the contents, she felt a presence behind her. Turning quickly, she was startled to find Violet standing in the doorway, her expression cold and hard. "What are you doing here?" she demanded, her voice laced with anger. Caroline took a step back, feeling cornered. "I was just looking for. You have no right to disturb what's been left behind." "Leave it be," Violet snapped, her eyes blazing. "I'm trying to understand. This place is filled with secrets, and I want to help," Caroline pleaded. Violet's demeanor softened for a brief moment, but then hardened again. "Understanding comes at a price, Caroline. You cannot meddle with forces beyond your control. Why are you so afraid of the past?" Caroline pressed, desperation creeping into her voice. "You can't ignore it forever." With that, Violet stepped closer, her presence imposing. "I'm not afraid. I protect what is mine. You would do well to remember that." Caroline swallowed hard, the tension thick between them. Violet turned sharply and walked away, leaving Caroline alone in the shed with the remnants of a history that felt increasingly dangerous. Determined to find answers, Caroline returned to the house, her mind racing. She needed to confront the truth, both for Ben and herself. As she ascended the staircase to her room, she felt the weight of unseen eyes watching her, a constant reminder that the house was alive with its own history. That night, she lay awake, contemplating her next move. The unease that filled the air seemed to thrum with anticipation, as if the house were waiting for her to make a choice. She thought of the symbols she had seen, the rituals described in the book, and the grave marker in the garden. As dawn approached, a plan began to form in her mind. She would confront Violet again, but this time armed with knowledge and the courage to face whatever darkness lay ahead. She would not let fear dictate her actions any longer. The oppressive atmosphere in the plantation house weighed heavily on Caroline as she navigated her duties. Each day, she sensed the darkness surrounding Ben and Violet deepening, and her curiosity about their lives intensified. Despite Violet's stern demeanor and disapproval, Caroline's determination to uncover the truth about the house and its history grew stronger. That morning, Caroline overheard a heated conversation between Ben and Violet. She was preparing breakfast when she caught fragments of their exchange, words like danger, darkness, and past. The urgency in Ben's voice contrasted sharply with Violet's cold insistence that they not dwell on the past. Caroline's heart raced as she realized the depth of their conflict. It was evident that Violet had a significant power over Ben, one that stifled his voice and held him captive within the walls of their home. After breakfast, Caroline decided to confront Ben. "What was that argument about?" she asked gently, trying to draw him out. "I want to help you. You don't have to keep secrets from me." Ben's eyes flickered with a mix of gratitude and fear. "Violet, she's protective of me, but she doesn't understand. The past has a way of catching up. There are things she's done, things that bind us to this house." "Like what?" Caroline pressed, her heart pounding in anticipation. "I can't say," he replied, his voice strained. "You don't know her like I do. She'll do anything to keep the past buried, even if it means hurting those she loves." Determined to find answers, Caroline decided to explore the house further, especially the areas Violet had restricted. The locked door at the end of the hallway loomed large in her mind, a constant reminder of the secrets that lay beyond. That evening, when Violet left to run errands, Caroline seized the opportunity. Armed with the key she had found, Caroline approached the locked door, her heart racing with anticipation. She inserted the key and felt a rush of adrenaline as the lock clicked open. The door creaked ominously as she pushed it ajar, revealing a dimly lit room cloaked in shadows. Inside, the air was thick with dust, and the scent of something ancient filled her nostrils. Caroline's breath caught in her throat as she surveyed the space. The room was cluttered with shelves lined with jars containing strange herbs, animal bones, and various occult objects. The walls were adorned with faded tapestries depicting scenes of ritualistic ceremonies and symbols she had only glimpsed in the voodoo book. In the center of the room stood a large altar draped with a black cloth. Atop it lay a series of candles, their wax dripped and hardened, as if they had burned for years. A large, intricately carved wooden box caught her eye, adorned with the same symbols she had seen in the book. She felt an inexplicable pull toward it, as if it were beckoning her closer. With trembling hands, Caroline opened the slow and dangerous. With a rush of adrenaline, Caroline backed away slowly, clutching the journal tightly. As she reached the door, Violet blocked her path, her demeanor shifting to something almost predatory. "Don't you dare take anything from here," Violet warned, her eyes glinting with menace. "I won't let you keep him in the dark any longer," Caroline replied defiantly, her heart racing. "I'll find a way to help him, even if it means uncovering the truth about you." Violet stepped aside, allowing Caroline to slip past her and out of the room. She hurried down the hall, her pulse pounding in her ears. As she reached her room, She locked the door behind her, heart racing with fear and adrenaline. Sitting on the edge of her bed, she opened the journal again. This time, she flipped to the back, where she found a sketch of a symbol, a spiral intertwined with various other shapes. The description beneath it spoke of a binding ritual, a way to control the spirits tied to the house and protect oneself from their wrath. The more she read, the more the pieces began to fall into place. Violet was not just Ben's wife, she was a practitioner of dark magic, a boko who had used the power of the house to manipulate the very essence of their lives. Caroline's heart ached for Ben, trapped under Violet's control and haunted by the shadows of their past. As the night wore on, Caroline felt an urgency to act. She needed to confront Violet but also to prepare for whatever might come next. She remembered the cleansing ritual from the voodoo book, a way to protect herself and Ben from the darkness that enveloped them. With newfound determination, Caroline gathered the items she needed: salt, herbs, and candles. She set up her altar in the center of her room, carefully arranging the materials as the moonlight streamed through her window, casting an ethereal glow. As she began to recite the incantation, she felt a surge of energy coursing through her, empowering her resolve. "By the spirits of light and shadow, I call upon you to cleanse this space," she whispered, her voice steady. "Remove the darkness that binds and protect us from harm." As she spoke the words, the air crackled with energy. The candle flames flickered violently, and the shadows in the room danced, swirling around her. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from the locked door, causing her to jump. "Caroline." Violet's voice was sharp and furious. "What are you doing in there?" With every ounce of strength, Caroline continued her chant, the words flowing from her like a river. She felt the weight of the house pressing down, but she stood firm, determined to reclaim her power and protect Ben from the darkness that threatened to engulf them. The temperature in the room dropped suddenly, and Caroline's breath came out in visible puffs. She glanced at the door, sensing the intensity of Violet's anger. "You can't stop me," she shouted, her voice rising above the chaos. "I will uncover the truth." With a final flourish of her hands, she completed the ritual, feeling a surge of energy rush through her. The shadows retreated, and a calm washed over the room. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the night lift slightly. But as she sat in the stillness, she realized that this was only the beginning. The battle was far from over, and she would need every ounce of strength and courage to confront Violet and the darkness that loomed over them.